Welcome to General Games. We have the final of today's Grand Prix Brisbane trial. This is James Fazzolari, joined by,
Unisixel.
fresh off his top four defeat, bad luck Eunice, but thank you for joining me in the booth. Today we have a match between Jeremy Maitland on Living End and...
And Benny Yao on Bant Eldrazi.
Now, I didn't quite catch it, but I know you did. I think both players mulled to six.
Yes, they're multi-six.
Okay, so hopefully we get a good game. The matchup's Living End versus Ban Eldrazi. Obviously, at the height of Eldrazi's dominance, Living End was the counter deck.
Yep.
So I like Benny. He's a really nice guy. We had a great match today, but I am kind of expecting him to get lit up a bit. What do you think?
Oh, it's going to be a hard game for him. He's going to have, obviously, he's already had a really good start.
Yeah,
Temple out. But
What do you think he needs to do to beat? Like, obviously, he's going to get at least Living Ended once. So is it a matter of just like moving in as quickly as possible and trying to force them to have it, or do you try and like hold something back to repopulate the board?
I think he just has to go all out, really.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time that Jeremy goes living ends.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it looks like pretty land heavy draw for Benny. Now, certainly, I imagine this gets better after sideboard. Ban Eldrazi has access to white, so the best graveyard hate options in the format. He also has access to counter spells from blue cards like a Stubborn Denial or a Negate. So, I mean, if he could sneak a game one, that'd be amazing, but certainly he's got a lot more options post sideboard.
Yeah, no, if he can get this game, he's laughing.
He's laughing.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
he's
so you
laughing.
think he's like a big favorite if he wins game one?
Even in game two would be pretty hard.
Yeah.
If especially with Jeremy. Jeremy's pretty good with living ends.
Yeah, he's been playing Living End for a number of years. I think it's his third sort of top finish in this qualifier season for the Grand Prix in a couple of weeks. So he's very competent. In terms of what Jeremy's got going on, for people unfamiliar with Living End, it's a deck that abuses the Cascade mechanic from Shard's Valara block. The idea being to fill your graveyard with creatures before casting a Cascader, which gets the eponymous Living End card, killing all their creatures in play and returning all of yours to play. So the reason that's so good in this matchup is Bant Eldrazi is a stumpy deck. All it's trying to do is flood the board with creatures, and that's exactly what we're going to see now is all of Benny's creatures go to the graveyard and all of Jeremy's come back into play.
Yeah. So he'll get 3 guys in.
Yeah. I think when you're new to Living End or you haven't seen it before, people sort of fall into the trap of trying to get like 6 creatures back in play, and you really don't need to. Like, think of it, like that just killed 3 of Benny's cards and brought back 3 of Jeremy's. So the old, 6 for 1 for 3 mana at instant speed is I'd play
good.
that, yeah. And unfortunately or fortunately, depending which one of these decks you think is the good guy, probably none. That definitely positions Jeremy really well to apply a lot of pressure quickly.
Well, both decks abuse cards. So obviously Benny's abusing the Temple, and obviously Jeremy's he's doing better when it comes to abusing cards.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Living End is actually a particularly good choice in the current metagame. Post bannings have just gone live. This is actually the first weekend that we've played post bannings. Also, the inclusion of infamous card Fatal Push in the format.
Yep.
It appears from the couple of events I played this weekend that the format is slowing down a little bit, and that certainly promotes decks like Living End, which harder to interact with and are good against the slow decks. So pretty quick win for Jeremy, sort of as predicted. But I think the post sideboard games will be more interesting. So I guess we'll try and catch a glimpse of what Benny's bringing in.
Is that an Emrakul?
Where?
Benny, I think he's got Emrakul in the deck.
Maybe that's pretty spicy. Do you think Emrakul's good in this matchup? That is an Emrakul, yeah. It seems a bit slow to me. Also, Emrakul dies to the end, so I don't know how good it really is. I imagine he'll just be taking out removal and sort of interactive cards for stuff that races and for sort of a graveyard hit. As for Jeremy, I don't really know if you even sideboard. Like, you might have something to bring in, like some more Shriekmaws perhaps.
Maybe,
Shriekmaw seems very good, but
I think that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The matchup is so good anyway that you don't want to over sideboard. So
Yeah.
because your game one plan is so strong, you want to stay as much on plan as you possibly can. Whereas Benny, who has the strategic disadvantage, really needs to reconfigure his deck as much as possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's got some great red hit.
Yeah, so some negates, a couple of relics. That's yeah. Those
That's
those
a
are the
start.
cards that you need.
Yeah.
Did you play either of these guys in the tournament today?
Yeah, I played Benny at the semis.
Yep. What did you think? You were on Mono Blue Tron?
Mono Blue Tron.
Yeah.
First game was pretty good for me. He did play out his hands. I went Oblivion Stone. Second game, Multi 5, which really punishes Mono Blue Tron. And then you've got, obviously, the third game, he just went all out. There was nothing I could really do.
Yeah, I think that's the big strength of Bant Eldrazi is it's like of all the different Eldrazi decks that have sprung up post bannings, quite a while ago now, it's the most able to recreate those really broken draws.
Yep.
And it certainly hits like a ton of bricks, and really huge Eldrazi monsters plus counterspells is a pretty strong combination
Yeah,
of.
very good.
Yeah, I've lost many times. I did play both gentlemen in this tournament. I was able to Blood Moon Benny on the play in game 1 and game 3, and then was horribly slaughtered in game 2, and it was not particularly close. And then I was similarly able to beat Jeremy by just drawing really, really well. Now, Jeremy's just drawn his opening hand. I did notice that, well, as he goes to Mulligan, he has brought in Ricochet Trap.
Yep.
Ricochet Trap is like is counter tech to counter spells. So obviously he's predicting how Benny is going to sideboard. So it's going to work out. Benny does have counter spells.
He's got counter spells. Does he have?
It's a negate. Does he have any creatures in that hand? I just saw lands. There might be some creatures on the far left-hand side. If there's no creatures, I don't really think that's a keep, even though you're on the play. You do need to be applying pressure. I guess we'll see. I can't quite make out his hand, but pretty incredible setup here at General Games. Have you played in the store before?
No, this is actually my first time coming here.
Yeah, mine too. But I was pretty excited to travel out here, and I've got to say, it's a really nice store.
Really good setup.
Really well set up.
So
obviously, I know the people that run the store day to day, and like they'd been telling me to come down for a while. And packed out store, multiple events. I saw X-Wing, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer. So people in playing all sorts of stuff today, which is really exciting. Great for the community, obviously, and whoever goes home with a win here can really pat themselves on the back for winning through a pretty tough field of players, and two buys for a GP. No one's going to laugh at that.
No.
How are you situated for buys? Are you still on the hunt? Or?
I am still on the hunt for buys.
Okay, so Jeremy down to Jeremy is kept the mountain on top. I think that's a 6-carder with 1 land and cyclers, so he's going to be relying on the cyclers to find more land. It might be a 2-lander. It's a little hard to tell at this distance.
I think he might.
It's
cool.
He's
got a swamp.
Cool. So that's a pretty good hand.
Yep.
So we've got a nice quick start for Benny. Do we have a threat? No. So it's always a little bit problematic. He needs to play as a bit of a tempo deck, apply pressure, get a key counter off, and then try and ride that to victory. With haste cards off the top, that can be a winning strategy. But I know it's only turn 2, and like it's a bit fast to say, well, it's a very slow draw, but it really does. Time really is of the essence in a matchup like this. So, yeah.
I think he kept that hand because of the negate.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Just quickly brushing through the hand, I think there was a Drowner of Hope, but I didn't actually see any Thought Not Seers or anything. So this is potentially a very slow draw.
Yeah. I think he's just depending on countering it, really.
Yeah, see, I don't think that's going to do it because they're just countering the first living end doesn't get the cards out of the graveyard, so they're able to just go off again and again and again. So counterspells slow them down, but don't actually lock out the game. Whereas if you have Graveyard Hate instead that exiles the graveyard, it takes a very long time for them to fill the graveyard again. So yeah, this is not looking great. Jeremy is starting to flood a little bit rather than drawing cyclers, and so maybe he's got a bit of time, but that graveyard's already looking pretty pretty stocked.
I think
He's just doing it now. Yeah.
Yep.
So
And
this will get counted.
Yeah.
And then I don't think Jeremy had another Cascader, so
No.
there might be a little bit of time. But yeah, I mean, certainly things going to plan for Jeremy, less so for Benny. He's really going to need to, I guess, probably just needs running Reality Smashers or Thought Not. He needs like high quality cards. Yeah, I might try and get another look at Jeremy's and see if he has another Cascader. I mean, just because he doesn't have one doesn't mean there's not another one coming soon.
He does have Living in there.
Yeah, but it suspends for 3, I believe, 3 turns.
Yep.
No, so he hasn't got another Cascader. So there's this time now. So
Yep.
Benny's this is a window of opportunity. How do you think the format is situated post bans and new cards entering the format?
There's good opportunities to actually use some of the new cards.
So apart from Fatal Push, does anything jump out to you?
Ooh, good question actually. Does anything jump out to you, James?
Does anything jump out to me? I was not expecting to have to answer that question. That's why I definitely passed it over to you. I mean, I don't think the new Tezzeret is quite there. Maybe a new Planeswalker perhaps could find its way into a modern sideboard. I have seen people put Disallow in lists as a 3-mana counterspell. I think that's a little bit ambitious. A lot of the time, the 2-mana counterspells aren't good enough in Modern, so a 3-mana one, especially with Dissolve as an option, doesn't seem correct to me, but I've been wrong before. The new Legend SRAM is giving people hope of playing Cheerios. It's a second Pure Steel Paladin for that type of strategy. Maybe we'll just kick back to the game and let me avoid this question. We've got a Drowner of Hope coming down, so we've got some real pressure, but here's another Cascader, and I think, not to wrap up, get ahead of myself, that will probably be the game, just given that there's only a one threat in Benny's hand, and Jeremy's about to have an enormous board. So, yeah, do you see any way of coming back, or...?
I don't know actually from here. Unless he's got a board wipe, which I'm pretty sure they don't play. Do they?
I've not seen it, but I mean, they could definitely cast a Day of Judgment. So, I mean, Wrath of God, I think it is. So, I mean, theoretically, but I doubt that. Yeah. I'm going to see a Deadshot Minotaur kill a bird. Very exciting. That interaction, what a blowout.
Yeah.
that was the real blowout there, yeah. No, I mean, very tough matchup, and certainly at Grand Prix Melbourne almost a year ago, the Living End deck was designed as the hard counter to Blue-White Eldrazi that's not only faster than this deck, but had more interaction, and it was still a really bad matchup. So I think Benny doing really well. He obviously played really well all day to make the final of this event at General Games, but a really, really significant uphill battle. So, I mean, I won't call it just yet, but there's still plenty of opportunities in his hunt for buys. Yeah, it's an attack for a lot. 15. I actually just got to get this in before we wrap up the broadcast. I actually got to blow out Jeremy when he went to try and kill my thing in the ice by using the Cascade spell that gives everyone +1/+0. And I got to dispel it in combat and flip my thing in the ice and upheaval his board. Just needed to get that into coverage. So we have a result. Huge congratulations to Jeremy Maitland for winning the General Games Grand Prix Brisbane Grand Prix Trial. A pretty convincing 2-0.
It was very convincing.
Yeah. Any observations or anything you want to add?
It's probably a good opportunity for Benny, especially if he's going to the GP to actually maybe change his sideboard.
Yeah,
maybe
think about it.
Add a few things for the matchup, because it's obviously it is a bad matchup for him.
And it might even be a good learning experience insofar as mulliganing. Okay, so from both of us here at General Games, from James and Eunice, thanks for everyone for watching. Come down to General Games when you get a chance, and we'll play some Magic cards. Take care.
Ciao.
Bye.